Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into this really powerful idea. What if there are invisible architects shaping your thoughts and feelings, and you don't even know it? So let me ask you something. Are your thoughts really your own? The framework we're looking at today kicks off with that very question. It suggests that for thousands of years, what it calls external intelligences, or even demonic entities, have been studying us. And not humanity as a whole, no. They've been studying us one by one on a super personal level. And that's where this idea of the invisible architects comes from. See, their goal isn't just to watch us like some kind of cosmic science project. Nope. The goal is to influence us. And how do they do that? By analyzing everything. Our personalities, what we lean towards, and, most importantly, our weaknesses. So to get this done, they build what the source material calls a psychological profile for every single one of us. Now, don't think of this like some generic personality test. It's more like a super detailed blueprint of your personal weak spots. They're mapping out the exact places where they can apply pressure and get the biggest reaction. Okay, so this all sounds pretty abstract, right? How does it actually play out in real life? Well, the framework gives us a perfect case study to look at, and it focuses on someone who is naturally intelligent. You can see the whole downward spiral laid out right here. It all starts with just a little suggestion, a whisper in the ear of someone with a real gift. Hey, you're smarter than everyone else. And slowly but surely, that gift, which could be used for something amazing, gets twisted. It's not about a higher purpose anymore. It's all about building up a personal ego. Pretty soon, the person's identity totally shifts. They're no longer just a person with intelligence. Their whole identity becomes, I am an intellectual. And with that ego comes this intense need to control everything. Life, other people, you name it. But here's the thing. You can't control everything. So when that control inevitably fails, what's left? Despondency, anxiety, a total destabilization. And the end result of all this? Well, the idea is that when these thought patterns are nurtured from a young age, they just blossom, but not into something good. They grow into this constant state of fear, anxiety, and just complete emotional unpredictability. The person starts reacting negatively to everything because their entire mental foundation has been shaken loose. All right, so if that's the problem, these outside suggestions messing with our heads, what's the solution? The framework is pretty clear. It all starts with an active, in-the-moment defense. We're talking about dodging the mental bullets. You can't just wait for the problem to get bigger. You've got to stop it right at the source. And the source gives us this amazing analogy. You remember the movie The Matrix, right? It's just like that. We have to learn to see the bullets, those negative thoughts, coming right at us in slow motion. We've got to develop the skill to dodge them before they hit, before they get inside our soul and just wreak havoc. So what's our first line of defense? It's a practice called nepsis, which basically means watchfulness. Think of it like being a security guard at the gate of your own mind. You're in the state of constant mental alertness, just watching every single thought that tries to get in. But just watching isn't enough, right? You need something to do about it. You need a tool for action. And in the spiritual framework, that tool is the Jesus prayer. It's used like a sword, really. The moment you spot one of those unhealthy thoughts, you use the prayer to just cut it off, reject it right then and there. Okay, but here's the catch, and it's a big one. Some thoughts are easier to reject than others. A lustful thought, for example, we can usually spot that pretty quickly as something that's not good. But what about the sneaky ones? What about thoughts of pride, or anxiety, or perfectionism? These are way harder to reject because they resonate with us. We've built our personalities around them. We start to believe, oh, that's just who I am. I'm just an anxious person. And that makes them almost impossible to spot, let alone get rid of. And that's what leads us to the deeper, long-term work. Dodging the bullets is crucial for that first line of defense. But if you really want to win the inner war, you have to go deeper. You have to dismantle the very patterns that have become a part of your personality. So, how do we do that? Well, the framework lays out this 3-step path to healing. First, you gotta reveal your thoughts. Drag them out into the open, maybe by sharing them with a spiritual guide or a priest. Get them out of your head. Second, you start working to correct the process behind the thoughts, basically reframing your entire way of seeing the world. And finally, you cling to repentance, using prayer and humility to remove what the source literally calls the spiritual cancer that's been growing. Okay, so that sounds like a lot of hard internal work. What's the point of it all? What's the ultimate goal here?
Well, it's something pretty profound. It's a completely transformative state of being.
The results of getting your thinking corrected are kind of amazing. The claim is that your whole experience of life just starts to change. Life actually slows down. Your heart gets more settled, your emotions aren't so all over the place, and you learn to let go of that need to control everything, and instead you start relying more on God. And this all leads to a kind of peace that's totally different from what the world usually offers. This isn't the peace you get when things are going your way or you get a promotion. No, this is an internal peace, a peace beyond understanding. It's a peace that stays with you, solid and unshakable, no matter what kind of chaos is swirling around you on the outside.
So, what's the ultimate takeaway here? I think it's that our feelings aren't just random. So often, they're the direct result of our thoughts. And that leaves us with a really important question to think about. A question this whole framework pushes us to ask ourselves. What unseen patterns, what invisible architects might be quietly shaping your life?